So how many CASAs are there, approximately? I mean, is it all over New Jersey?
Yeah. Well, in New Jersey, there are many CASAs. In Union County, we have been able to train up to 67 to date.
Really? That's
Yes.
fantastic. So, yes, and I know I'm a CASA volunteer myself because a friend told me about CASA, and I went to listen, and of course I was moved, very moved by what I saw and the need that's being met here in this. When you're dealing with children, and that's I'd like to know, what do you think makes this unique? Because there are a lot of organizations that help children, but this organization seemed unique to me because it was a one-on-one with a child, and if you can really make a difference. What do you see as the most unique aspect of this organization?
Well, CASA is the only program that is actually given the right to come into court and advocate for the best interests. The volunteer is assigned by a family court judge. And the judge assigns a CASA to investigate what's going on in a child's life, facilitate the information coming to the court's attention as to his or her needs, and obviously to ferret out any other issues that may come up.
And how many judges are involved with CASA?
Well, in Union County we have 3 judges.
And are they family court judges?
They're family court judges, yes.
Okay, and where is that located?
That is located in Elizabeth. The courthouse is in Elizabeth, and all the hearings are done in Elizabeth County.
And where does the training occur? Where does the training take place?
The training happens in Westfield,
which is nice.
Which is it keeps it very local. A lot of our founding board members were from Westfield,
right?
And we also had board members from Fanwood and Scotch Plains.
So it is a very local organization.
Well, it's a local organization in the founding aspects,
right.
But however, our mission and the strategic plan for our board was to expand the diversity of the board members, not only from the skill sets of the board, but where they come from.
Right.
We have a child population that comes from Scotch Plains, Westfield, Elizabeth, Hillside, Rawway, and it goes on. Every township of Union County. So we need, as a board, to diversify in many ways, one of which is to make sure that we have representatives from each of the townships in Union County.
So it sounds like this is it's great. I think it's an amazing organization, and I know people who do know of it, and I'm hoping through this show more people will become aware of it, that there's, unfortunately, there's a need in this segment. And can you tell us about that need? Tell us a little bit about what a child who would benefit from CASA. What is the general profile of the child who would benefit from this program?
Well, I'd like to first start off by saying that to date, we have 1,043 kids who are in foster care. Currently this year, 692 kids are active. Luckily, during the fiscal year of 2008, they were able to close 300 more cases.
What do you mean by close?
Well, there were some form of permanency happened for the children. Either the children were adopted, they found they continued into care, whether in a group home, and then they aged out.
And the age out is
age out basically
18.
Yes, 18.
Right.
Sometimes they can go up to 21. But the fact of the matter is, once they find a permanency, the case is closed as a case with the system.
So is that the goal of any foster child's situation, to be kind of closed out in terms of a permanent home?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that CASA looks for. CASA wants to make sure that there is a CASA volunteer that tries to serve every child who needs a CASA, and if possible, we will be able to grow our organization where we can serve all 692 plus, obviously, if there are more kids who come into care. So
a CASA volunteer has how many children or cases? Let's say a child is considered one case. How many cases does a CASA have? Well,
that's a special thing about CASA. We provide that one-on-one. Right. Oftentimes, when a child comes into care, they're assigned a caseworker, and they do a phenomenal job. I mean, it's a very stressful and hard work to do. However, oftentimes they're given many children to keep up with and to make sure their services are being met.
Right.
CASA goes in and becomes that particular child's mentor,
Right.
sometimes advocate, obviously in court. And when there are issues that come up, they make sure that the court is aware of it. Oftentimes, those issues don't come up because people may not notice
Right.
or understand what's going on.
Well, if I might interject,
Sure.
I know I used to prosecute child abuse cases many years ago, and I know that the workers for the DIFUS or for the court system are they have a lot of cases.
A lot of cases.
And it's not always easy to find out and dig and understand really about a child, and the child is oftentimes moved through a system, and they don't have the constancy and the one person who's really there for them and who understands, gee, I love baseball, or I love artwork. And I think that's the thing that distinguishes CASA, because you, as the advocate, have a chance to develop that one-on-one relationship, and that you're not changing.
Right.
Whereas the caseworker
may change oftentimes.
Right.
I'll give you a case example. We had a case that's currently closed. And I won't use a child's name, but I'll give you the gist of the situation. This child was a teenager who was placed in a group home.
Right.
The child had a history of taking stuff. He was branded a thief, quite frankly. He was assigned a CASA by the judge. This young man was given a very responsible CASA, male CASA, of African descent, because it was an African-American child, who had a time to speak with him, get to know him, understand, build a good rapport.
Right.
Came a point where the child confided in him and said, I'm very upset. And he said, why? Why are you upset? And he turned around and said, well, I have this radio. I was given this radio from a program, and the radio was taken away from me because they thought, the people here thought they stole it. And the advocate looked at him and said, well, did you? He said, no, I did not. So the advocate went ahead and did some research and found out that this child got the radio because of good behavior at another program. He was shocked that the individuals that he told that this radio was gotten from this program did not believe him. He went to court and he advocated for the child and told the court, the judge, this is what went on, and this is what I found out, that he legitimately got this radio for good behavior.
Right.
The court judge turned around and said, number one, return that radio to the child. Number two, that child deserves an apology.
Wow, and I bet that really validated that child,
Well,
and made
that's exactly
give
it.
him a lot of self-esteem. What it's missing, because they're coming from such a disadvantaged point to begin with.
Exactly.
And a lot of times assumptions, things just don't go in their favor a lot of time.
Exactly.
And this advocate did exactly what, it may seem like a small thing to you or me,
Yes.
but it could be the one thing that changes a person's perspective. And
Absolutely.
maybe that's a great story.
Absolutely.
Because that's why I felt so passionate about this organization. If anyone home is listening to this and would like to volunteer, I'm sure we'll give you information at the end. It's an organization where you can make a difference. And in this world, we all really kind of have to help each other and make a difference.
Yes.
That's a great story. And let me ask you, you mentioned the judge who had a very big influence on the case.
Yes.
They do. How do they receive the CASA advocates? What is their perspective on your organization?
Well, that's the beauty of CASA and the way we built CASA in Union County. We received the total buy-in by not only the judges, because they were part of the process of building CASA, but the Division of Youth and Family Services was part of the discussion of how CASA should be built in Union County. But most importantly, we reached out to the community and asked them their opinion as to how we should shape the program. So we received total buy-in.